Beneath the ancient sky, where the veil between worlds thins, there lies a city lost to time, swallowed by the embrace of the jungle, cradled in silence, and forgotten by the hands that once built it. It is said that the earth itself guards its secrets, hiding beneath a canopy of thick, verdant leaves, where no light can penetrate, and no traveler has tread for many lifetimes. The air here is heavy, rich with the scent of damp earth, the breath of old growth, and the whisper of ancient moss clinging to stone as if holding on to the last memory of a people long vanished. It is in this sacred place, in the heart of the jungle, that our journey begins. The ground beneath our feet is soft, as though the earth itself is softening the footsteps of those who dared to walk here before. Every step is a prayer, every rustle of the wind, a forgotten whisper from the past. The jungle is alive with sounds, faint, haunting murmurs of creatures unseen, their presence felt more than heard. It is as if the trees themselves have borne witness to the rise and fall of this once great city, now crumbled and buried in time. As the mist rolls through the air, wrapping around us like a shroud, there, in the distance, the faintest outline of towering pyramids emerges, their jagged peaks cutting through the thick canopy. They rise from the ground like shadows, a quiet echo of what once was. These towering structures, now half devoured by the jungle's relentless grasp, stand as solemn sentinels in the mist, their true purpose lost to all but the earth that cradles them. What was this city so proud and sacred that it now lies hidden in the depths of this forgotten world? How did it fall into silence, swallowed by the very green that once fed its lifeblood? Beneath the silence, the city's heartbeat still echoes. As we follow the faint trail where proud streets once stood, the jungle opens in places, revealing crumbled stone structures, their edges worn by centuries of rain and wind. The paths are barely visible now, and what was once a thriving metropolis is now little more than forgotten rubble. Stone blocks half buried in the earth, their faces eroded by time, their voices swallowed by the thick growth surrounding them. The very air seems to carry the weight of the lost civilization, the voices of its people carried on the breeze, fading in and out like a soft sigh. The deeper we venture, the more the jungle seems to protect its sacred remnants, wrapping them in its tender grasp, as if trying to keep the past from slipping too far away. Faded carvings emerge from under the moss, symbols etched into stone that speak of an ancient knowledge now faded to dust. Half-buried altars whisper their stories in silence, their sacred purpose, long forgotten by those who once held them dear. Yet still their presence lingers in the air, an echo of a world that knew the language of the stars, that touched the divine with bond calloused by devotion. Some believe these ruins to be mere remnants of a forgotten civilization. But the deeper we move into the heart of this sacred space, the more we realize that these stones, these altars, and these walls are not just relics of a past age. They are the keepers of secrets. Whispers tell us that this city was once a place of profound understanding, a place where the breath of the gods was felt in every stone and every star above. But what happened? Why did the city fall into such silence? Was it a great betrayal, a moment of divine judgment, or simply the relentless passage of time? There are no answers here, only more questions. Questions that hang in the air like the soft fog that creeps between the trees. The closer we come to the city's core, the more the silence deepens, wrapping around us like a sacred shroud. The weight of the forgotten knowledge seems to press against our chest, as if the city itself is trying to protect us from what it once knew. And yet, we cannot turn away, for we know that the answers, though veiled in dust and time, still lie hidden beneath the moss-covered stones. The jungle itself seems to hum with a life of its own, a pulse that matches the ancient rhythms of the city. The trees stretch their limbs toward the sky, casting long shadows across the ruined city, their branches intertwining like 1,000 forgotten prayers. It is here, beneath the emerald canopy, that we come to understand the true nature of this place. It is a city that has not been forgotten, but rather a city that has chosen to remain hidden, buried beneath the weight of its own secrets, waiting for the right soul to listen. Perhaps it was never meant to be found, we think. Perhaps the city was not meant to speak again. But even as we stand in the heart of its ruins, we feel the pull of its silent presence, like the gentle tug of a memory that refuses to fade. There is something about this place, an ancient call that we cannot name, a whisper from the past that still lingers in the air, like a dream half remembered. As the sun sets, casting its golden light over the ruins, we pause before a crumbled altar, its stone surface worn by centuries of rain and dust. We listen, and in the stillness, we feel the heartbeat of the city beneath us. For a moment, we understand the language of the stones, the silent song that once filled the streets, and the sacred breath that once flowed through the hearts of its people. But just as quickly, the moment fades, slipping away like the mist that curls around the ancient pillars. And so, we stand in silence, beneath the shadow of the jungle's canopy, with no answers to hold, only the lingering echoes of a civilization lost to time. The question remains, as soft and quiet as the whisper of leaves in the wind. Who were they, and why were they forgotten? Was it a punishment, a sacrifice, or simply the passing of an age? Perhaps, in the silence of the jungle, the answers will always be out of reach, waiting for the right moment, the right soul, to listen. And perhaps in the end, it is the silence itself that holds the final answer, as sacred and eternal as the city beneath the canopy. It is said that once, long ago, at the edge of the world, a great temple stood, its stones etched with celestial symbols, its walls adorned with depictions of gods whose names were whispered only in the softest of breaths. This temple, forgotten by all but the earth, was built not to house mere mortals, but to reach the heavens themselves, beneath the canopy of stars, where the constellations were once seen as divine guides. The temple's altar awaited the touch of those who sought communion with the cosmos. The night sky, vast and endless, looms over us as we begin our journey, drawing us to a remote mountaintop. The air is thin, cool, and heavy with the scent of ancient stone and the faint aroma of the wild herbs that have taken root among the temple's forgotten corners. The stars above shine with an ethereal glow, their light shimmering on the ruins, as if the heavens themselves have chosen to illuminate this sacred place. And as we stand upon the weathered stone of the mountaintop, the faintest hum seems to rise from the earth beneath our feet. A low, ancient resonance that calls to us in the language of dreams. We are drawn to the altar, its surface long worn by time, its edges softened by centuries of wind and rain. The altar, once a place for celestial offerings, now holds only the dust of ages past. Its carvings, though eroded, still speak of a time when the people who built this place believed their gods walked among them, their movements guided by the movements of the stars. The altar's form is simple, yet profound. A circle, centered by a stone basin where offerings were once placed, now empty, save for the remnants of ancient rituals. Around it, faded symbols of the gods can still be traced. Lines worn smooth by the touch of those who knelt here in worship. As the wind stirs the air, it brings with it the faintest whispers, as though the stones themselves are sharing stories long forgotten. Perhaps they are the echoes of those who once stood here, gazing up at the stars with reverence, seeking answers to the mysteries of the universe. Some say the altar was never meant to be found again, that it was hidden away by the temple's builders, a place where only the most faithful might enter and understand the true meaning of the stars. But what was their message? What did they see when they looked up at the heavens? And what did they hope to find? The journey through these ruins, quiet and sacred, is a slow unraveling of myth and memory. The deeper we venture, the more we realize the temple was not built merely to honor the gods, but to seek a deeper understanding of time itself. Its stones align with the constellations, and the altar is positioned in such a way that, on certain nights, the stars themselves appear to fall into place above it, forming patterns that are said to hold the key to cosmic secrets. What knowledge did the ancient ones hope to unlock by positioning their sacred altar in such a way? Was it a way to touch the divine? Or was it an attempt to gain control over the very forces that govern the heavens? As the night deepens, we come to understand that this altar was not merely a place of worship. It was a place of revelation. The offerings placed here were not just sacrifices, but requests to the gods to reveal the hidden truths of the cosmos, to offer a glimpse of a world beyond the stars. The people who built this temple were not merely seeking answers to earthly concerns, but yearned to transcend the boundaries of their own time, to speak to the very forces that shape the universe itself. The altar, now weathered and forgotten, holds no more answers. The gods who once received their worship have long since faded into the stars themselves, their forms lost to time. Yet, beneath the moonlight, there is still a sense of presence, a quiet hum that speaks of a deeper connection, a communication between earth and sky that has been lost to all but the wind. Some believe the altar holds the key to an ancient prophecy, a prophecy that speaks of the return of the stars to this sacred place, when the heavens will once again reveal their secrets. But the stars remain silent, distant, cold. Perhaps the prophecy was never meant to be understood in this lifetime, but only in a future age, when the people of the earth are ready to hear it once more. Perhaps the temple itself was built as a vessel, not for divine intervention, but for human understanding, a way to connect the finite with the infinite. As we stand before the altar, the weight of the silence presses in heavy and ancient. The stars continue their eternal dance across the sky, indifferent to our questions, their light now softened by the veil of time. The wind stirs once more, carrying with it the faintest whisper, as though the gods themselves are still listening, waiting for us to understand. Perhaps in time we will come to realize that the secrets of the temple were never meant to be revealed to us in a single moment, nor were they meant to be understood in the way we wish to understand them. Instead, they were a part of a greater timeless cycle, one that continues in the dance of the stars, in the pulse of the earth beneath our feet, and in the quiet hum that still rises from the ancient stones. And so, as the moon rises higher, casting its silver light over the forgotten altar, we are left in a state of quiet wonder. The mysteries of the celestial altar remain, like the stars themselves, distant, unreachable, yet ever present. The question lingers, just as the wind whispers through the crumbling stones. What was their message? And who will hear it next? Perhaps it is not our time to know. Perhaps we are simply travelers passing through, leaving only the softest echo in the night. It is said that beneath the towering peaks, where the world seems to meet the sky, there rests a temple built not by the hands of men, but by the earth itself. The mountain looms like a silent guardian, its ancient stone face carved with secrets older than time. There, beneath the shadows of its great height, lies a forgotten place, a sanctuary lost to all but the winds and the stones. To approach it is to journey into a realm where memory fades and the line between the divine and the earthly blurs. As the sun sets behind the jagged horizon, a soft twilight glow bathes the path leading up to the mountain's base. The air is thin here, crisp and still, heavy with the weight of ages. Every breath feels like a whisper from a time long past, as if the mountain itself is holding its secrets close. The path is winding and steep, twisting through ancient trees whose gnarled roots cling to the earth like the memory of something long forgotten. With each step, the feeling grows. There is something sacred here, something that has been waiting, hidden beneath the mountain's eternal shadow, for those who dare to listen. The journey brings us to the temple's entrance, where the stone doors, once grand and adorned with celestial symbols, now stand cracked and weathered. They are half buried in the earth, as though the mountain has begun to reclaim its creation, folding it back into the earth from which it was born. A faint, cool breeze stirs the air, carrying with it the scent of old stone, damp moss, and something else, something unspoken, as though the earth itself is sighing beneath the weight of the past. We step through the doorway, where the faintest light filters in, casting long shadows across the stone floor. Inside, the temple's walls are etched with intricate carvings, symbols of gods, celestial bodies, and forces both seen and unseen. The carvings are worn by time, but the sense of reverence is still palpable, hanging in the air like incense. These are not the carvings of mortals, but of those who understood that the true power of the divine lies not in the heavens above, but in the very bones of the earth. It is as if the temple itself was designed not just to honor the gods, but to connect with them, to create a space where the divine and the earthly could meet and share a breath. The deeper we move into the temple, the more the silence thickens. It is the kind of silence that fills the soul, pressing in from all sides. There is no sound here, save the soft echo of our footsteps and the occasional murmur of wind that slips through cracks in the stone. Like the breath of an ancient spirit, the air is cool, but there is an undeniable warmth that seems to rise from the very stones beneath our feet. The temple is alive with the energy of ages, a quiet pulse that beckons us forward. At the center of the temple lies the altar, its surface smooth and worn, marked with centuries of offerings, now crumbled and turned to dust. The altar, like the temple itself, is made of stone, black and smooth, yet marked with veins of gold that shimmer in the faint light. It is said that this was once the place where the earth's pulse could be felt most strongly, that it was here that the ancients would come to listen, to seek communion with the divine forces that shaped the world. The altar's surface is cool to the touch, yet beneath it there is a vibration, a subtle hum, almost imperceptible, like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Some believe that this temple was built to honor the earth, to acknowledge that the true power of creation lies not in the heavens above, but in the forces that dwell beneath the surface, deep in the heart of the earth. The carvings on the walls, some say, are not just depictions of gods, but of the spirits of the earth, those who dwell in the depths, shaping the world in ways we can never fully understand. The ancients, it is said, believed that by honoring the earth in this way, they could unlock the deepest mysteries of existence, tapping into a power greater than anything known to humankind. But as we stand before the altar, the questions remain, suspended in the stillness like dust in the air. Why was this place abandoned? Why did the ancients turn away from their sacred connection to the earth? Was there a moment, a decision, that severed the bond between the temple and the people who once sought the wisdom of the mountain? Or was it simply the passage of time, the slow unraveling of an ancient world, as the forces of nature reclaimed what had once been built? The deeper we walk into the heart of the temple, the more the sense of loss grows. There are no answers here, only the lingering presence of something greater than us, something that once spoke in the language of the earth and the stars. And yet, as we stand in the quiet center of the temple, the faint hum of energy still echoes in the air. Perhaps the answers lie hidden beneath the stone, buried deep within the mountain's heart, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. The final question hangs in the air, as soft and eternal as the whispers of the wind. What was it that the ancients sought to understand? And why was the temple left to fade beneath the mountain's shadow, its secrets locked away in stone? Perhaps we will never know. And perhaps, in the silence, we are meant to listen, to feel the pulse of the earth beneath our feet, and remember that the mysteries of the world are not always meant to be uncovered. They are meant to be experienced, felt in the stillness of our souls. As the light fades and the shadows lengthen, we stand before the altar, feeling the weight of the temple's past settle around us. And though the answers may never come, the silence itself holds a sacred truth, a truth that lingers in the air, like the whisper of a forgotten prayer. The mountain has kept its secrets for eons, and perhaps it will continue to do so, quietly, eternally, beneath the shadow of its towering peaks. The earth hums beneath us, and in that moment, we understand. Some things, perhaps, are never meant to be uncovered, only felt in the silence, beneath the shadow of the mountain, in the shadow of forgotten mountains, where the desert meets the sky, lies a city that once danced with the stars. Now, only ruins remain, weathered by centuries of wind and sand, their stories written in the stones, though no eyes are left to read them. It is said that in the time before time, this city was a place of great knowledge, a sanctuary where the wisdom of the heavens and the earth were kept in sacred harmony. But what happened to it? What force, divine or earthly, caused its fall into dust? And why does the wind still carry the faintest echo of its ancient song? The journey begins as the golden light of day begins to fade, casting long shadows across the city's scattered ruins. A lone traveler steps quietly across the desert's edge, where the remains of the city rise from the earth like the final whispers of a once thriving civilization. The ground is dry, cracked by the harsh sun and the endless passage of time. Every step disturbs the silence, but the stillness is profound, almost sacred, as though the city itself holds its breath, waiting for something to return. The city's gates, now crumbled and half buried in sand, stand as solemn sentinels at the edge of forgotten memory. In their ancient carvings, worn smooth by the passage of time, one can still trace the celestial symbols that once marked this city as a place of divine significance. For here the people believe that the stars above were not just distant lights, but guides, their movements the key to understanding the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. The people of this city, some say, were masters of the sky, their knowledge of the heavens so vast that it rivaled the gods themselves. Yet, as the traveller passes through the gates, there is no fanfare, no grand revelation. Only dust, heavy in the air, and the remnants of structures that once rose proudly against the desert's endless expanse. The stones, now faded, hold traces of long-lost inscriptions, words that once held the power to summon the stars themselves, now blurred and indistinct. The wind carries the faintest whisper, as though the city's story is trying to speak again. But the words are lost to time, just as the people who once called this place home have been swallowed by the sands. The journey deeper into the heart of the city reveals its grand temples. Their once majestic steps, now cracked and worn, their towering columns half fallen. The altar stones carved with intricate symbols of celestial alignment lie abandoned in the sand. These were places of worship where the people sought to commune with the stars, offering prayers for wisdom, for guidance, for a deeper understanding of the cosmic forces that shaped their world. The faintest trace of starlight seems to linger in the air, though the stars themselves have long since withdrawn from this place. Beneath the sand, one can still feel the heartbeat of the city, pulsing gently with the rhythm of the earth. Some say that the city was built in alignment with the stars, its streets and structures designed to capture the flow of celestial energy. The city, they say, was a living organism, its very bones crafted to mirror the heavens, so that the people could live in harmony with the cosmos. But what happens when the connection between earth and sky is severed? What happens when the stars no longer align and the city is left to crumble in the silence? There are whispers, too, of the city's downfall. Some say it was a divine punishment, others a betrayal from within. Perhaps the people grew too proud, touched in their knowledge, too certain of their place in the grand scheme of the universe. Perhaps they sought to control the very forces they once revered, and in doing so they lost their connection to the stars. The city, once alive with light and knowledge, was abandoned, its temples and altars left to decay, its wisdom lost beneath the sands of time. As the traveller walks among the ruins, the night falls, and the sky above begins to fill with stars. It is as if the heavens themselves have come to watch over the city, their distant light casting long ethereal shadows over the stones below. The city, though abandoned, is not completely empty. There is a presence here, a quiet lingering energy, as though the very stars themselves remember the city, even as its people have been lost to the ages. The air grows cooler as the traveller reaches the highest point in the city, where the last remaining tower rises against the sky. From here, one can see the full extent of the city's expanse, its once proud streets now little more than lines in the sand. And yet, there is something beautiful in the ruins, something sacred in the silence. The stars above seem closer now, their light shimmering like a promise, like a memory of a time when the people of this city gazed up at the heavens, seeking answers to questions they could never fully ask. Perhaps the city's story is not one of destruction, but of transformation. Perhaps it was never meant to last, for its purpose was not to remain, but to teach, to show the people who built it that their connection to the stars was not one of domination, but of understanding. Perhaps the city was meant to fade into dust, to be swallowed by the sands, so that its wisdom could be passed on, not through knowledge, but through experience. As the traveler stands beneath the star-filled sky, the final question drifts like a soft breeze. Was the city ever truly lost? Or is it simply waiting? Waiting for those who are ready to listen, ready to understand that the stars do not belong to us. They belong to the earth, to the wind, to the sand, and to the forgotten ruins that lie beneath our feet. Perhaps the city was not a place of destiny, but a reminder that all things, even the stars, are meant to fade, to return to the earth, where the stories of the past can live on, not in memory, but in the silence between the stars. And so, as the winds stir the dust, we are left to wonder, what were they seeking? And why did they disappear into the forgotten corners of the earth, leaving behind only the whisper of their presence, like the soft glow of stars on a moonless night? Perhaps the answers lie not in the ruins, but in the spaces between the stars themselves, where the city's story continues to unfold, quietly, eternally, beneath the vast, unchanging sky. It is said that beneath the shifting sands, hidden within the vast desert's heart, lies a city that has not been forgotten, but rather sealed away, its name erased by time, its stories carried only by the wind. The desert, as old as the stars, holds secrets not meant for mortal ears, a place where the stones themselves seem to whisper, not in words, but in echoes, their voices carried through the dunes like the soft murmur of forgotten dreams. This is a city built on silence, a silence so deep that even the winds seem hesitant to disturb it. As the sun sinks below the horizon, the sky burns with hues of amber and rose, casting long shadows across the endless expanse of sand. The desert's beauty is unsettling, a landscape where the earth seems to bend and ripple beneath the weight of time. We begin our journey at the edge of this desert, where the night cools the air, and the stars begin to prick the darkening sky like distant candles. The sands stretch out before us, vast and endless, and yet we know, somewhere, deep within, there is something hidden, waiting, a presence, quiet and ancient, that calls us toward it. The first step is always the hardest, for the desert is not kind to travelers. The ground beneath our feet is soft, constantly shifting, as though the earth itself is moving, breathing. With each step, the feeling grows, a sense of being watched, of being drawn towards something that is not yet fully known. The air is thick with dust, and the faintest scent of salt and earth rises with the breeze. The sound of our footsteps is swallowed quickly by the sand, leaving no trace, no mark. Only the vast, unbroken silence remains. As we move deeper into the desert, the stones begin to reveal themselves. At first, they are small, half-buried relics, worn smooth by centuries of wind and sand. But soon, the stones grow larger, rising from the earth like ancient sentinels, their surfaces covered in faded carvings. They are not just stones, they are records, inscriptions left by those who once walked these paths. The symbols are worn, barely visible, but still they speak to us. Silent echoes of a long-lost civilization. The markings are not of any known script, but a language older than any we have known, etched in patterns that seem to shift with the wind. They are the whispers of a people who understood that the earth itself held the key to the heavens. The deeper we venture, the more the desert seems to change. The sand shifts, revealing what at first appears to be the remains of a once great city. Broken pillars rise from the dunes, their tops lost to time, and the faint outline of walls can be seen in the distance, their stones weathered and crumbling. The city, once alive with the bustle of life, is now little more than a shadow, its buildings swallowed by the earth, its people lost to memory. And yet there is a presence here, something that lingers, hidden beneath the sands. We approach the ruins slowly, reverently, as though stepping into a sacred space. The city, though abandoned, is not empty. It hums with the quiet energy of the past, its secrets embedded in the stones themselves. As we step across the broken stone pathways, we feel the weight of the history that surrounds us, the weight of a civilization whose legacy was not meant to be lost, but was buried by some force beyond understanding. What happened here? Why did this city fall into silence? What did its people know that the winds have carried away? At the center of the ruins stands an altar, a simple stone structure, weathered by time, but still intact. The altar is covered in strange symbols, the same ones that appear on the stones scattered across the desert. It is said that this altar was once used for sacred rituals, that it was a place where the people of the city would commune with the earth, offering their prayers and their knowledge in exchange for guidance from the stars. The altar, though silent now, still holds the echoes of those who once stood here. Their voices carried on the breeze, like whispers in the dark. As the moon rises high above the desert, casting its pale light across the ruins, we stand before the altar, drawn to its quiet power. The air is still, but there is a sense of movement, of something shifting beneath the surface, something waiting. The wind picks up, carrying with it the faintest sound, like the rustling of pages in a forgotten book. The stones, though ancient, seem to breathe, their surface warm to the touch. We place our hand upon the altar, and for a moment, it is as if the very earth is speaking to us, telling us its secrets, secrets that have been buried for eons, waiting for someone to listen. Some believe the desert city holds the answers to a question lost to time. Perhaps it is a question of the stars, of the connection between the heavens and the earth. Or perhaps it is a question of life itself, of the ancient knowledge that once flowed through the people who built this place. But no answers come. Only the desert wind and the quiet hum of the stones remain, a reminder that some things are never meant to be known, only felt. The city was not meant to stand forever, and perhaps its true purpose was never to be understood, but to be a memory, held in the earth and in the wind. As the moon climbs higher, casting long shadows across the desert, we realize that the city was never truly lost. It was simply waiting, waiting for the right moment, the right soul, to uncover its secrets. The wind, which carries the whispers of the past, is not a force of destruction, but of preservation. For in the desert, where time seems to stand still, the answers are not found in the stones or the ruins, but in the silence between them. The city may be gone, its people forgotten, but the desert, silent, eternal, holds their memory in its heart, carried on the wind, like a song that will never fade. As we turn to leave, the faintest sound catches our ear, a whisper, like the rustling of leaves. The stones, once silent, seem to speak, their voices rising from the sand, fading with the wind. Perhaps the city was never meant to be found, but only remembered. Its story carried on the desert's breath, echoing through time until the day when the wind speaks again. And so, we leave the desert behind, the memory of the city carried with us, a soft echo in our hearts. Perhaps it is a story that will never truly end, for the desert, with its endless sands, will always whisper its secrets, and the stones will always remember. The city, lost to the winds, will never be forgotten, as long as the desert endures. It is said that deep within the heart of the forest, where the trees are older than time itself, there exists a place where the earth sings, not in the way that winds move through branches or rivers murmur over stones, but in a voice that echoes with the forgotten rhythms of the world, a sound that only those who listen closely enough can hear. Long ago, the ancients believed this was the birthplace of the forest, its roots entwined not just with the earth, but with the very pulse of the universe. And here, in this sacred grove, the last echoes of the forest's song are held. The journey begins at the forest's edge, where the light of the world seems to fade into a softer, deeper hue. The sun is low, casting a golden glow on the thick canopy above, where the air feels heavy with life. Each step into the forest is like crossing a threshold, leaving the mundane behind and entering a world where time moves slowly, if at all. The trees, massive and ancient, stretch up to the heavens, their trunks twisted with the passage of centuries. Their roots run deep, veins of the earth that wind through the soil, carrying with them the stories of ages long past. The forest is silent at first, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the soft murmur of distant waters. But as we walk deeper, a subtle change begins. The air grows cooler, and the earth beneath our feet softens, as if the ground itself is responding to our presence. The forest seems alive, and not just with animals and plants, but with a consciousness, ancient, patient, and quiet. It is as though the forest is watching, waiting, aware of our every movement. And in the stillness, we hear it. A faint, almost imperceptible hum, like the beginning of a melody carried on the wind. As we follow the winding path, the trees seem to grow closer, their branches reaching out like arms, guiding us deeper into the forest's heart. The light dims further, filtered through the dense canopy, and the shadows grow long, twisting across the forest floor. The ground is thick with moss, its soft green texture covering the stones and roots that lie hidden beneath. The scent of damp earth fills the air, mixing with the subtle sweetness of blooming flowers whose names have been forgotten by time. The hum of the forest grows louder now, a soft, soothing melody, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. At the center of the forest stands an altar, weathered and ancient, its stones worn smooth by centuries of exposure to the elements. The altar is half buried in the earth, as though nature itself has claimed it. Yet the carvings that adorn its surface, symbols of gods and spirits long since lost to memory, are still visible. Faint traces of a time when this place was revered as sacred. The altar is simple in its design, But there is a profound energy here, as if it holds the heartbeat of the forest, the pulse of life itself. It is said that the altar was once a place where the people came to offer their prayers, their songs, their sacrifices. They believed that the forest was not just a collection of trees and creatures, but a living being, one with a spirit as vast and infinite as the sky. They would come to this altar, not to ask for anything, but to give their gratitude, their respect, their songs. In return, the forest would share its secrets, offering glimpses of the wisdom that flowed through its roots and branches, a knowledge as old as the stars themselves. Some say that the altar was used to communicate with the forest's spirit, to listen to the melodies that only the pure of heart could hear, to feel the pulse of the earth within their own chests. But now the altar lies abandoned, its stones covered in moss and vines, its purpose forgotten by all but the forest itself. The song of the earth is faint now, barely audible beneath the rustling of leaves and the soft murmur of the wind. The trees stand silent, as if waiting for something, perhaps the return of those who once honored them, perhaps the return of the song itself. As we stand before the altar, the air seems to grow thicker, and as if the forest is holding its breath. The hum becomes clearer, the melody rising in the stillness, like a voice that has been waiting to be heard again. And then, for a fleeting moment, the song comes alive. A soft, ethereal harmony that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It is the sound of the wind moving through the branches, the rustle of leaves, the soft drip of water from the trees. It is the sound of life itself, pulsing through the earth, through the trees, through the very air we breathe. It is a song that speaks of beginnings and endings, of birth and death, of the eternal cycle that governs all things. But just as quickly as it began, the song fades. The forest falls back into its quiet state, the hum no longer audible. The silence that remains is thick with the weight of what has been lost, a silence that is both peaceful and sorrowful. The song is gone, but it lingers in the air, a memory, a shadow of what once was. And though the forest stands silent, there is a sense of peace here, as though the song has never truly left. It has simply faded into the wind, carried on the breath of the earth. We turn to leave, but as we do, a soft breeze stirs the trees, and for a brief moment, the hum returns, faint, almost imperceptible, but there. Perhaps it is a message, perhaps a promise. The forest has not forgotten us, it seems. The song is not lost, it is simply waiting. Waiting for the moment when we are ready to listen again. As we walk away, the forest's heartbeat continues, steady and eternal, beneath the earth. The last notes of the song are carried on the breeze, fading into the distance. The forest remains, its secrets held close, its song still whispered on the wind. And though we may never fully understand the melodies of the earth, we know that they are always with us, silent, patient, waiting to be heard again. Perhaps in the quiet of our own hearts, we can hear the song, just as the ancient ones once did. And in that song, we will find the wisdom of the forest, waiting for us to remember, to listen. It is said that beneath the surface of every river lies a world apart, a hidden realm where time moves differently, and the echoes of forgotten history are carried downstream, whispered by the currents. In the depths of this sacred water, there is a river so ancient that its waters flow with the memories of those who walked beside it long ago. This river, veiled by mist and shadow, winds through a land untouched by time, where the very air seems thick with the weight of ages. The river does not merely flow. It carries with it the stories of those who once sought its wisdom, their footsteps long erased by the sands of time. And though no one can see its depths, it is said that to listen to the river is to hear the call of the past, to feel the pulse of a world lost to memory. The journey begins at the river's edge, where the land meets the water in a quiet embrace. The river, though still, holds a sense of movement beneath its surface, an unseen current that flows endlessly, like the heart of the earth itself. The sky above is pale, tinged with the last vestiges of twilight. As the stars begin to twinkle softly in the distance, the air is cool and damp, filled with the scent of earth and water, as though the river itself breathes, its rhythm steady and eternal. The banks are overgrown with tall grasses, their leaves swaying gently in the breeze, as if to the river's silent song. We step forward, drawn toward the water, where the surface gleams like glass. It is here, as in this stillness, that the veil between the living and the lost seems thinnest, as though the river itself holds the key to a forgotten realm. The water, dark and rich, reflects the fading light of the sky, distorting the images of the trees and sky above into ghostly, shimmering shapes. The river seems to call to us, its surface whispering secrets, soft ripples disturbing the quiet surface. There are no sounds of animals, no movement on the riverbank, only the gentle lapping of water against stone and the soft rustling of the trees in the distance. As we walk beside the river, we begin to notice the stones scattered along the bank, some half buried in the soft earth, others worn smooth by centuries of water. The stones, like the river itself, seem to hold stories within them, stories of travelers who once passed this way, of civilizations that rose and fell along its banks, their names lost to time. The stones are etched with symbols, faded, worn, but still visible. Ancient inscriptions, written in a script long forgotten, mark the path of the river like a silent trail, leading us deeper into the heart of this forgotten world. The deeper we venture, the more the river seems to change. The water grows darker, the mist thicker, and the air heavier, as though the river itself is drawing us closer to something hidden beneath its surface. The trees grow closer to the water's edge, their gnarled roots dipping into the river, as if they are connected to the very soul of the land. The sound of the river becomes louder now, a gentle rush, like the heartbeat of the earth calling us to listen. It is in this moment, in the stillness, that we feel the first stirrings of the river's secret. There is something here, something waiting to be understood. And then, as we move deeper into the mist, we reach the point where the river opens up, where the water meets a vast, ancient stone structure. At first, it appears as little more than a ruin, a collection of stone pillars, half sunken in the river's depths, their surfaces covered in algae and moss. But as we draw closer, the full scale of the structure becomes clear. This is no simple ruin. It is a temple, built at the water's edge, designed to honor the river as a sacred force. The temple's columns rise from the water, their tops lost in the mist, and the walls are carved with intricate patterns of flowing water, celestial symbols, and figures of deities whose faces are worn by time. In the center of the temple lies a basin, its surface reflecting the water around it, a mirror of the river itself. The basin, though still and clear, seems to hold a sense of movement, an unseen current beneath the surface, swirling gently like the rhythm of the earth. It is said that this was once a place of sacred ritual, where the people would come to offer their prayers, their songs, and their offerings to the river. The river, in return, would grant them wisdom, guidance, and a glimpse into the hidden world beneath the surface. The water was not just a river, it was a conduit, a bridge between the living and the dead, between the earth and the heavens. As we stand before the basin, the air grows thick with the scent of the river, and the mist seems to close in around us. There is a stillness here, a quiet that is both peaceful and unsettling. The river's song, once faint, now rises in the air, a soft, haunting melody carried on the mist. It is the sound of the past, the voices of those who once gathered at the river's edge, the whisper of their prayers, their hopes, their fears. The song is not a song of joy or sorrow, but a song of connection, a reminder that the river is not just water, but a living force, a keeper of memory, a witness to the passage of time. And as we listen, the water begins to ripple. It is as though the river itself is coming alive, stirring beneath the surface, awakening from its long slumber. The mist parts just for a moment, and in that fleeting moment, we catch a glimpse of something beneath the water's surface. It is not clear, not fully formed, but it is there, a shadow, a shape, a figure moving slowly through the water, as if beckoning us forward. Perhaps it is the spirit of the river, perhaps the memory of those who once worshipped here, their souls bound to the water, their presence still felt in the current. The mist rolls back in, and the vision fades, leaving only the quiet flow of the river. The song, though softer now, lingers in the air, like the fading echo of a distant memory. The temple stands silent, its secrets held beneath the water, waiting for those who are brave enough to listen, to look beyond the veil and see what lies beneath the surface. As we turn to leave, the river continues to flow, its current steady and eternal. The air is cool now, the mist thickening once again as night begins to fall. The temple, the river, and the world beyond fade into the mist, leaving us with only the quiet song of the earth, the whispers of a time long past, carried forever on the wind and the water. Perhaps the river's secrets will never be fully revealed, perhaps they are not meant to be understood. But in this moment, standing at the river's edge, we feel something greater than ourselves, something ancient, something eternal. The river does not belong to us, and yet it has shared its song. The veil has parted just for a moment, and we have glimpsed what lies beneath. The heartbeat of the earth echoing in the water, beneath the surface, forever flowing onward. And so, the river continues, song fading into the night, waiting for the next soul to listen. Perhaps, like us, they will hear it. Whispers of the past, carried by the current, always present, always flowing, beneath the veil of the forgotten river. It is said that the sands of the desert hold secrets older than the stars, whispers of civilizations long erased by the endless winds. Deep within the shifting dunes, hidden beneath layers of time and dust, there stands a temple, a sacred place whose name has been lost to history, but whose presence still lingers in the whispers of the wind. The temple, though unseen by most, is always there, concealed in the heart of the desert, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Some believe it is a place of great power, a gateway to forgotten realms, a bridge between the earth and the divine. Others say it is a tomb, the final resting place of gods and kings, their bones now mingled with the sand. But one thing is certain: the temple, like the desert itself, holds memories that stretch back to the beginning of time. Our journey begins at the edge of the dunes, where the sun is just beginning to set, casting long shadows across the barren landscape. The wind stirs the sand, sending it rolling across the desert floor in soft, rhythmic waves. The heat of the day lingers in the air, heavy and still. But the evening brings a coolness, a quieting, as if the desert itself is preparing for something. The vastness of the landscape stretches before us, the endless sea of sand broken only by the occasional silhouette of a distant dune or the faintest outline of a structure half buried in the earth. We follow the path, marked only by the shifting footprints of past travelers, their journey as forgotten as the city that once stood here. The wind carries with it the scent of earth, salt, and something ancient, something long buried in the desert's embrace. As we walk, the silence deepens, and with each step, the sense of being drawn towards something greater, something hidden, becomes more palpable. The desert does not reveal its secrets easily, but it does reveal them to those who listen, to those who can hear the soft murmurs carried on the wind. And then, just as the sun dips below the horizon, the desert reveals its first secret. In the distance, rising from the dunes, the faint outline of a stone structure becomes visible. At first, it is barely noticeable, a shadow against the night sky, but as we draw closer, the shape becomes clearer. It is the temple, its towering columns half buried in the sand, its massive stone walls crumbling with age. The structure seems to emerge from the very earth itself, as though it is part of the desert, grown from the sand like an ancient relic of the past. The temple is not merely a building. It is a living thing, a monument to time itself, its stones infused with the wisdom and power of the ages. The air is heavy as we approach the temple, and the wind, now a soft whisper, carries the scent of stone and dust. The entrance, though partially obscured by sand, is still discernible. An archway framed by two towering statues, their faces worn smooth by the passage of centuries. These statues, though eroded, still hold an air of majesty, their features frozen in time, their gaze forever cast toward the horizon. They are guardians, protectors of the temple's secrets, their silent vigil never broken. As we step through the archway, the temple's inner sanctum is revealed. The air is cooler here, the stillness more profound. The temple's walls are adorned with intricate carvings, their meanings lost to the ages, but still carrying an undeniable weight, an energy that seems to pulse through the stone itself. The carvings depict scenes of gods and kings, of celestial events and sacred rituals, their figures rendered in deep relief as though they are alive within the stone. The light from the setting sun filters through cracks in the stone, casting long, flickering shadows across the floor. In the stillness, it is as though the temple is waiting for something, or someone. At the center of the temple lies the altar, a simple stone structure, weathered by time, but still intact. It is here, some believe, that the most sacred rituals were performed, where the people would commune with the divine, offering prayers, sacrifices, and the very essence of their being to the gods. The altar, though silent now, seems to hold a presence, an energy that hums just beneath the surface. The stone feels warm to the touch, as though it carries within it the memory of all that has transpired here. It is said that the temple was built to align with the stars, that the altar's position was chosen to capture the energy of the heavens, to bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine. But the temple is not merely a place of worship. It is a place of knowledge, a repository of secrets that the sands of time have sought to conceal. The deeper we venture into the temple, the more we uncover. Rooms long forgotten, filled with ancient scrolls, stone tablets, and relics that speak of a people who understood the language of the stars, who saw the world not just in terms of earth and sky, but in terms of cycles and forces beyond comprehension. Their knowledge, though now lost, still lingers in the air, like a faint echo that calls out to us, urging us to listen. The deeper we go, the more the temple seems to shift around us, as though it is alive, its very walls breathing with the passage of time. The stones, though worn and crumbled, still hold the weight of ancient power. A power that was once harnessed to shape the world in ways we can only begin to imagine. As we stand at the heart of the temple, beneath the ancient carvings and the silent gaze of the statues, the wind picks up once more, swirling around us in soft gusts, as though the desert itself is calling us to listen. The final question drifts through the air like a shadow, lingering just out of reach. Why was this temple built? What purpose did it serve? And why was it abandoned, swallowed by the sands? Was it a place of knowledge, a sacred center of soar? Or was it something more? A temple to the stars, a bridge between the divine and the mortal, a place where the very fabric of the universe could be understood? And why, after all these centuries, does it still stand, hidden beneath the sands, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets once again? As the wind continues to stir the sands outside, the temple falls silent once more. The last rays of the sun fade from the sky, leaving the temple bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. The stones, though worn and weathered, still hold their secrets, still whisper their stories to those who are willing to listen. The desert, too, remains silent, its endless sands stretching into the horizon, waiting, as always, for the next soul to come, seeking the answers that lie beneath the veil. Perhaps the answers will never be found. Perhaps the temple will remain hidden, its secrets forever locked away in the stone. But as we leave, the final question remains, lingering in the silence of the desert. What is it that this temple still guards? And why does it continue to call echoing through the sands to those who are willing to listen? The answers, it seems, are always just out of reach, waiting to be uncovered when the time is right. Until then, the temple stands, silent, eternal, a monument to the mysteries of the past, hidden beneath the shifting sands of the eternal desert. It is said that beneath the ground, hidden from the world above, lies a vault so ancient that its purpose has been forgotten by all but the earth itself. The moonlight, though it never touches the depths, casts its pale glow upon the entrance, a faint reminder of what lies beneath. The vault is a place of silence and shadow, sealed by time and buried by stone. Yet it holds the secrets of a civilization that once understood the language of the stars. These secrets, locked within the walls of the vault, remain undisturbed, whispered only in dreams and faint memories. But the earth remembers, and it is said that on rare nights, when the moon is high and the winds fall still, the stones themselves stir, and the vault's ancient heartbeat can be felt beneath the surface, waiting to be heard again. Our journey begins under the soft light of the rising moon, casting its silver rays upon the land. The night is still, heavy with the weight of time, and the air is cool, filled with the scent of damp earth and stone. We stand at the entrance of a narrow passage, carved into the side of a mountain, its threshold marked by two weathered pillars, their surfaces worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain. The pillars, though eroded, still bear faint carvings, symbols of a forgotten language, patterns of celestial bodies and cosmic forces, their meanings lost to the passing of time. The entrance is narrow, barely wide enough for a single person to pass through. But it beckons nonetheless, an invitation to descend into the depths. As we step inside, the air grows cooler still, and the light of the moon fades, swallowed by the darkness that lies beyond. The passage is tight, winding downward through the earth, and the walls are smooth and unyielding, as though the mountain itself had been shaped to create this path. The sound of our footsteps echoes in the stillness, but soon even that is swallowed by the thick silence, as though the earth itself is holding its breath. The passage grows darker, the air heavy with the scent of ancient stone. In the distance, the faintest glimmer of light flickers, an unseen source, like the glow of distant stars. Yet there is no fire, no torch. Only the soft, almost imperceptible light of the vault's hidden heart, cast from the stones themselves, glowing faintly with an energy that has not faded through the ages. At last, we reach the heart of the vault. The chamber is vast, its walls lined with rows of stone shelves, each one laden with relics, tools, scrolls, jars of unknown substances, ancient items that have not seen the light of day for countless centuries. The shelves, though worn by time, are still intact, their surfaces covered in dust and forgotten memories. And there, in the center of the chamber, lies the vault itself, a massive stone door, its surface carved with intricate patterns of stars and spirals, of gods and celestial bodies, all woven together in an intricate dance of light and shadow. The door is closed, sealed tight, but it hums with a quiet power, a vibration that seems to echo in the very air around it. It is said that the vault was not simply a place of storage, but a repository of knowledge, a sacred space where the wisdom of the ancient ones was preserved. The vault was built to house not just material objects, but the very essence of understanding, the key to the mysteries of the cosmos. It was a place where the heavens and the earth met, where the language of the stars was etched into stone, where the secrets of the universe were hidden from the world above. Only those who had been initiated into the sacred mysteries of the temple were allowed to enter, and those who passed through its doors were forever changed by the knowledge they discovered there. The vault's purpose, however, was not simply to store knowledge. It was designed to protect it, to keep it safe from the hands of those who were not ready to understand. The door, though locked and sealed, is not impenetrable. Some say that the vault is not just a place of storage, but a place of transition, a threshold between worlds, a gateway between the material and the divine. The door itself, carved with symbols of the celestial realms, is not merely a barrier. It is a portal, a doorway that can only be unlocked by those who understand the secrets hidden within the stone. As we stand before the vault, The air grows heavier, the weight of the centuries pressing down upon us. The walls of the chamber seem to pulse with a quiet energy, as if the stones themselves are alive, waiting for something. The faint glow of the vault's markings seems to grow brighter, and we feel, deep within our bones, the stirrings of something ancient and powerful, something that lies just beyond our reach. The silence is thick, but within it there is a sense of presence, of something watching, something waiting, something old and wise that has been here long before we arrived. But just as we reach out, the air grows cold. The faint glow from the vault fades, and the stone door, once alive with energy, settles back into stillness. The moment is lost, slipping away like a dream that fades upon waking. The vault's secrets remain locked, its door sealed tight, and the quiet hum that filled the air fades back into the silence. Perhaps the vault was never meant to be opened. Perhaps the knowledge it contains is not for us to possess. The stones, silent once more, return to their stillness, as though the earth itself has closed the door once again. And so, we stand in the darkened chamber, surrounded by the relics of a forgotten world, the vault before us, locked and waiting. Perhaps the secrets of the vault are not meant to be understood, or perhaps in time they will be revealed. But for now, the vault remains, its door closed, its knowledge sealed away. We are left only with the sense of something ancient, something vast and mysterious, that still pulses beneath the earth, waiting for the right moment, the right soul to unlock its secrets. The chamber falls silent, and we turn to leave. But the air is heavy with the weight of the question. What lies beneath the stones? What lies hidden in the vault's depths? The moon's light, though faint, still filters through the cracks in fuel earth, casting soft shadows across the floor. The vault remains, its secrets buried beneath the stones, waiting for the next traveler to come and to listen and to discover what lies hidden in the heart of the earth. Until then, the vault waits, silent, eternal, beneath the moonlit sky. It is said that there are places in the world where the earth holds its breath, where the air itself feels thick with ancient stories, waiting to be told. These places, hidden from the eyes of most, are marked by towering stones, monoliths that rise from the ground as though they were placed by hands beyond time, hands that understood the very language of the stars. These monoliths are not mere markers, not just monuments to forgotten kings or gods. They are keys to a deeper mystery, their silent shadows stretching across the land, guarding the secrets of a civilization lost to time. But the land beneath them does not forget. The stones are not just relics. They are alive, pulsing with the memories of a forgotten age. And though their voices have long been silenced, their shadows still linger, waiting for those who dare to listen. Our journey begins beneath the twilight sky, where the last traces of the sun are fading into the horizon. The air is cool, the land quiet, save for the soft rustling of leaves and the occasional call of distant birds. The landscape stretches out before us, vast and empty, save for the silhouette of the great monoliths that stand like silent sentinels in the distance. These stones, massive and imposing, rise from the earth, their surfaces worn smooth by the passage of countless centuries. They stand in a line, aligned with the cardinal directions, their shapes carved with symbols that have long since lost their meaning, their edges softened by the relentless winds of time. As we approach the monoliths, the air grows still, as if the very land is holding its breath. The stones, though ancient, seem to hum with a quiet energy, an energy that seems to vibrate through the earth beneath our feet. The shadows of the monoliths stretch long across the ground, casting dark silhouettes against the fading light of the day. Their forms are towering, their presence undeniable. Yet there is something unsettling about them. A quiet weight, a feeling that they are watching, waiting, as if they have been waiting for centuries for someone to come. The path to the monoliths is marked only by the worn earth beneath our feet, the steps of countless others who have traveled this same way before us, their footprints long erased by the sands of time. The stones are weathered, their surfaces scarred by the elements, but they stand tall, unwavering, as though nothing has the power to move them. As we stand before them, we can feel the weight of history pressing down upon us, a sense of timelessness that seems to hang in the air. The monoliths are more than just stones. They are echoes of a past that has long since faded, remnants of a civilization that understood the very fabric of the universe. They are symbols of something greater, something beyond our understanding, something that calls to us from the depths of time. As the moon begins to rise, casting its pale light upon the stones, the atmosphere shifts. The air grows cooler, and the shadows deepen. The monoliths, though silent, seem to come alive in the moonlight, their surfaces reflecting the soft glow of the stars above. The symbols carved into the stones, though worn and faint, seem to shift, to pulse with an energy that is both ancient and alive. They tell a story of a people who once revered these stones, who built their cities and their temples around them believing them to be portals, gateways between the earth and the heavens. The monoliths were not simply markers. They were beacons, guiding the way to a deeper understanding of the cosmos. As we move closer, the ground beneath our feet grows softer, as though the earth itself is reacting to our presence. The monoliths rise higher, their jagged edges cutting into the night sky. The air is thick with the scent of earth and stone, and the distant sound of the wind whispering through the trees feels almost like a song that has not been heard in centuries. The shadows of the monoliths stretch across the land, casting long, dark lines that seem to pulse with an unseen energy. They are not simply shadows. They are the memory of a time long past, a time when these stones were alive with meaning, when they spoke the language of the gods. In the stillness of the night, the ground beneath the monoliths shifts ever so slightly. The stones, though unmoving, seem to be alive with the presence that cannot be ignored. The air grows thick with the weight of their memory, and for a moment it feels as though the land itself is holding its breath, waiting for us to unlock the secrets buried within the stone. The monoliths are not just markers, they are doorways, thresholds to another world. A world where the past and the present collide, where the voices of the ancient ones can still be heard if only we know how to listen. As we stand beneath the monolith, the wind picks up, swirling around us in gentle gusts. The shadows of the stones seem to dance, to shift, as though they are alive, as though they are trying to tell us something. The symbols carved into their surfaces glow faintly in the moonlight, their meanings lost to time, but their presence undeniable. These stones were once revered, once understood by those who lived in harmony with the land, who knew the language of the stars and the earth. They were not just monuments. They were conduits to a deeper understanding of the universe, a connection between the divine and the mortal. But the secrets they once held are now buried beneath the sands of time, lost to all but the land itself. The monoliths stand, silent and unmoving, as though waiting for someone to remember, to understand the knowledge they once held. The voices of the past have been silenced, but their echoes remain in the shadows of the stones, lingering in the air, waiting to be heard again. As we turn to leave, the monoliths remain, their shadows stretching long across the earth. The wind whispers through the stones, carrying with it the faintest echo of the past, the quiet call of the ancient ones who once revered these stones as sacred. The night is still, the moon high above, casting its pale light upon the stones, and for a moment, the veil between the past and the present seems to thin. The secrets of the monoliths remain locked within the stone, but their shadows stretch out, waiting for the next soul to come, to listen, to remember. And so, the monoliths stand, silent and eternal, beneath the stars, their secrets buried deep beneath the earth. Perhaps they were never meant to be understood. Perhaps their knowledge is lost forever. But for now, they remain, waiting, as always, for the next traveler to come and listen to the whispers of the past, carried on the wind. It is said that the deepest parts of the forest are not mere places of trees and earth. They are ancient realms, where the boundary between the living and the long forgotten is so thin that one can almost hear the whispers of those who once called this land their home. Beneath the canopy of emerald leaves and tangled roots, there are secrets buried so deeply in the soil that only the earth itself remembers them. The forest, though still, seems to breathe with life, its rhythm as ancient as time itself, beating in tune with the heart of the earth. And within this forest, hidden from the eyes of all but the bravest, is a song so old that it has not been heard by mortal ears for countless generations. This is the song of the forgotten, the melody of a time when the earth was young, when the forest was a sacred place, and the trees whispered the names of gods long lost. Our journey begins at the edge of the forest, where the trees grow tall and close, their branches woven together in a dense, impenetrable canopy. The air is thick with the scent of pine and damp moss, and the ground beneath our feet is soft, as though it has not known the touch of the sun for centuries. The path ahead is narrow, lined with thick vines and roots that twist and curl like serpents, their surfaces slick with the moisture of the forest. The light of the day is dim here, filtered through the heavy leaves, casting long shadows across the ground, as though the forest itself is hiding from the sun. We step forward, drawn into the heart of the forest by a sound, soft at first, a faint rustling in the leaves, like the sigh of the earth itself. The air grows cooler as we move deeper, the trees growing taller, their trunks rising like ancient pillars, their surfaces covered in thick moss and lichen. The forest is alive with sound, but it is not the sound of birds or animals. It is a deeper, more ancient sound, a hum that seems to vibrate through the air, a melody that flows through the trees, carried on the breeze like a forgotten song. The wind moves gently through the branches, creating a soft, whispering rhythm that seems to echo the pulse of the earth beneath our feet. As we walk further into the forest, the song grows louder, clearer, but still just beyond our reach. It is not a song of voices, not of words, but a sound, a vibration, like the strumming of strings deep within the earth. The trees, ancient and wise, seem to lean toward the sound, their branches swaying gently as though they are listening. The air is thick with something ancient, something sacred, as though the forest itself is alive with memory, carrying the echoes of a time long past. The song is old, older than the forest, older than the people who once lived here. It is a song that has never been forgotten by the land, a melody that runs through the veins of the earth, carried by the roots of the trees, hidden beneath the soil, beneath the stones. The deeper we go, the more the forest seems to change. The light fades completely, replaced by the soft, pale glow of bioluminescent moss that clings to the trunks of the trees, casting the path in a ghostly light. The air grows dense with the scent of earth and ancient wood, and the song, though still distant, seems to grow louder, as though it is calling to us. It is a song of memory, of longing, of loss, a song that has echoed through the ages, carried on the wind, waiting for the right moment, the right soul, to hear it once more. Ahead, we see a clearing, a space where the trees seem to open up, their branches parting like the gates of an ancient temple. In the center of the clearing lies a stone structure, half buried in the earth, covered in moss and vines. This is no ordinary ruin. It is a place of power, a temple to something long forgotten, its walls etched with symbols that have not been seen for centuries. The stones, though weathered by time, are still strong, their surfaces marked by the passage of countless generations, their carvings depicting figures of gods and spirits, of animals and celestial bodies, all woven together in intricate patterns. This is the source of the song, the heart of the forest, the place where the earth's memory is stored, where the song is sung by the trees themselves. As we step closer to the structure, the air grows thick with the weight of history. The stone is warm beneath our hands, as though it holds within it the essence of the past, the energy of the people who once gathered here to commune with the divine. The song seems to rise from the stones themselves, vibrating through the air, filling the clearing with a sense of peace and power. The trees, though silent, seem to lean toward the structure, their branches stretching as if to touch it, as if to drink in the song that flows from the earth beneath. We stand in the center of the clearing, the stone temple before us, the song of the forest filling the air. The wind stirs, but it is not the same wind we have felt before. This wind carries with it something ancient, something powerful, a message from the past, from the spirits of the forest who once walked here, from the gods who once watched over this sacred place. The trees, the stones, the very air seem to hold their breath, as though waiting for us to understand, to listen to the song that is being sung by the land itself. The song begins to shift, becoming softer, more distant, as though it is moving away from us, retreating into the depths of the earth. The wind picks up, swirling around us, as though the forest itself is bidding us farewell. But in that moment, the forest speaks to us, not with words, but with the sound of the song, the melody of a time long past, a time when the earth and the people lived in harmony, when the song of the forest was heard by all. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the song fades into silence. The wind stills, the trees stand motionless, and the clearing returns to its quiet state. The stone temple, though still standing, now seems distant, as though it has receded into the past, leaving only the memory of its song behind. As we turn to leave, the forest seems to watch us, its silent presence filling the space. The song, though no longer audible, lingers in the air, carried on the wind, etched into the earth beneath our feet. The trees sway gently, their branches whispering in the breeze, as though they too remember the song, as though they too have heard it and carried it with them through the ages. Perhaps the song will never be heard again. Perhaps it was never meant to be understood. But in this moment, in the heart of the forgotten forest, we have listened to it, if only for a fleeting moment. The song, like the forest itself, will remain, carried on the wind, beneath the leaves, beneath the roots, beneath the soil. It is a song that will never be forgotten by the earth. A song that will echo through the ages, waiting for the next soul to hear it, to remember it, to carry it forward. And so, the forest remains, its song fading into the distance, its memory etched into the stones and the trees, waiting for the next traveler to come, to listen, and to understand. It is said that rivers are the veins of the earth, winding their way through the land like lifeblood, carrying stories and memories of all that has passed. Beneath the surface, they flow with secrets, with whispers of the past that echo in their currents. There is a river, hidden deep within a forgotten valley, whose waters have long since carried the last of its secrets away. The river, though still, moves silently beneath the earth, holding the memory of kings and empires that once thrived along its banks, now erased by time. This river is not just water. It is a vessel of history, a sacred stream that once nourished the soil, the people, and the lands of an ancient kingdom. But its true nature has been forgotten by all but the land itself, and the river now lies silent, as though it is waiting for someone to listen once more, to remember its name and the kings it once bore. Our journey begins at the edge of the valley, where the first light of dawn begins to paint the sky in hues of soft pink and gold. The air is crisp, the world still quiet, as though the earth itself is holding its breath in anticipation. We stand at the mouth of a narrow gorge, the river's faint murmur just beyond the shadows. The valley is cloaked in mist, the edges of the cliffs rising sharply on either side, as though the land itself is cradling the river in its embrace. The trees here are thick, their trunks ancient and gnarled, their branches twisted into shapes that seem to hold secrets of their own. The ground beneath our feet is soft, covered in moss and damp leaves, and the scent of earth and water fills the air, mingling with the cool breath of the morning wind. The path along the river is overgrown, faint traces of a road long forgotten by all but the land itself. The stones beneath our feet are slick with moss, the air thick with the scent of damp wood and the soft trickle of water. As we move deeper into the gorge, the sound of the river becomes louder. A constant murmur, as though the river is speaking, its voice faint and distant, like the echoes of forgotten memories. The valley seems to close in around us, the trees growing taller, the cliffs rising higher, until it feels as though we are being drawn into the heart of the earth itself. The air grows heavier, the light dimmer, as though the sun is reluctant to penetrate the dense canopy above. Ahead, the river widens, its waters still and dark, flowing silently between the stone banks. The water is black, so dark that it reflects nothing. No light, no sky, only the shadows that seem to linger on its surface. The river seems lifeless, yet there is something in its stillness, something that pulls at the soul. A sense that this water has witnessed things long hidden from the world. This is not a river that carries life. It is a river that carries memory, the last trace of an empire, the last whisper of kings who once ruled this land. As we move closer to the river's edge, the stones beneath our feet grow slick with moisture, the air thick with the scent of ancient wood and damp earth. The trees that line the riverbank are twisted and contorted, their branches reaching toward the water like gnarled hands, their leaves dark and heavy with age. The shadows they cast are deep, impenetrable, as though they are hiding something ancient, something that the river has carried with it for centuries. And in the silence of the valley, we hear it, faint at first, like a distant echo, the sound of a whisper, carried on the current of the river, a name, a word that cannot be fully understood. The river's surface ripples, disturbed by the faintest breeze, and the sound of the whisper becomes clearer, more distinct, though it still holds an air of mystery. It is a name, one that has been lost to time, a name that once commanded the loyalty of nations and the fear of enemies. The kings who ruled this land spoke this name, and it carried power. It was a name spoken in the halls of great temples and royal palaces, a name etched into the stone of monuments and tombs, a name that once echoed across the land. But now, the name is only a whisper, carried by the river, lost to the world. The kings, their deeds, their cities, and their legacies have all been swept away, swallowed by time and the relentless current of history. We step closer to the water's edge, and as we do, we feel the pull of the river, the weight of its secrets pressing against us. The water, though still, seems alive, as though it holds memories, as though the river itself remembers the names and faces of those who once ruled this land. The river holds the past within its depths, and we, standing at the edge, can almost feel the weight of it. The weight of forgotten kingdoms, of stories untold, of glory and betrayal, of rise and fall. The river has carried it all, and now, in the silence of the valley, it waits for someone to listen, to remember, to understand. The sun, now fully risen, casts its light on the river's surface, and for a moment, the water shimmers, as though it is alive with the reflection of something ancient, something that cannot be seen. The trees on the bank sway gently in the wind, their shadows stretching long across the water, as though they too are waiting for something, waiting for the river to reveal its secrets once more. But the river does not speak in clear words. It speaks in whispers, in ripples, in the silence between the sounds of nature. It is not a river of life, but a river of memory, a river that carries the past beneath its surface, waiting for those who can hear its call. The kings of this land, their palaces and cities now reduced to dust, have been forgotten by the world. But the river remembers them. The river remembers their names, their power, and the price they paid for their rule. And so, we stand beside the river, listening to its silent song, waiting for the next ripple, the next whisper to emerge from the depths. The river does not give up its secrets easily, but it gives them to those who listen, to those who are patient enough to hear the echoes of the past. Perhaps we will never know the full story. Perhaps the river will always hold its secrets just beyond our reach. But for now, we stand at its edge silent, waiting, listening to the song of the forgotten kings carried on the silent current of the river. The sun moves higher in the sky, and the river's surface grows still once more, reflecting the sky above. The moment passes, and the river returns to its silence. But the memory of the whisper lingers, carried on the breeze, carried on the current. And as we leave, The river remains, its flow undisturbed, its song carried through the valley, waiting for the next soul to come and listen.